Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Unfortunately, the supervisor could not make it this evening. We need a nomination for a chair.
Nomination James Daring to chair the meeting.
I support.
Very good, thank you. Nomination by Treasurer,
Rogers.
what's that?
Rogers.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Treasurer Rogers, supported by Trustee Lay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Roll call?
Clerk Cody here. Treasurer Rogers.
Here.
Trustee Lannon.
Here.
Trustee Lay.
Here.
Trustee Over.
Good evening.
Trustee Thering.
Here.
And Supervisor Milky is excused.
And an approval of the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion to approve by Cody, supported by Over. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Public hearings, none. Public comment at 7:01. This is restricted to 3 minutes regarding any items on this agenda. Oh, my apologies. Before public comment, let's do presentations from the county. My apologies.
Oh, no
'Cause
problem,
I'm slipping
sir.
up big time today.
Good afternoon, Bryce Smith, Isabella County Administrator Controller. I'm stealing his spotlight for one night, stuff like that. So when I first got hired in, I was going around meeting all the townships, so I'm doing this thing. So once a year, at a minimum, you will see me come by just to see how everything's going, kind of sit through your meetings and just let you know that, you know, maybe answer any questions you may have and stuff like that. So a couple of things I want to highlight tonight, and I'm sure Chairman has informed you. On the administration building, we finalized the concept of the administration building with our architect and engineer out of Grand Rapids. We are in the process right now coming up with the final designs for that. Once we get the final designs, that would be considered quality, that would go out to get permits and everything like that. We're gonna go for a bid for a general contractor. Then we can take that price that we will get from the winning bid from the general contractor, then with all of our associated costs, then we can do what you call the notice of intent to bond. The intent to bond is a 45-day window that you have to give the voters the opportunity that if they can get more than 10% of the voters, qualified elected voters in the county to sign this petition, they can put it on and request that this be voted on at the next general election. So this is just the intent to bond. We are not asking for a millage. I know that there's been some questions out there that this building is going to require a millage. It is not a millage. This is just simply saying, do 10% of the voters want to have this on an election where they will vote on the bond itself? So that is where we're at. We're looking at a 2.5 floor design of the administration building. The top half floor on the east side will be white boxed off for savings and maybe used at a future date. We are not utilizing any of the jail property with the exception of possibly some of the parking lot, but that's to be determined later. Parking was always kind of an issue, especially on Mosher. If you ever driven down Mosher, you'd always see like bigger trucks, half the truck would be sitting out over there. So we're trying to, we're gonna be working with the city to see how we can redo some of the parking for county employees. We're also looking at changing some of the entrances. So we would only have a north-south entrance. We would not have the bigger west entrance. That would be closed off. We want to make sure we have parking in the old jail area that's closest to the south, because that's where our handicap parking's at. Right now, handicap was a couple spots in front and then way over by the trial court, so they had to go all the way around the whole building, so it was not set up very well at all for those that had wheelchairs or limitations and stuff like that. So we're working on that. We have some ideas on what we want to do with the future jail, or not the future jail, sorry, that's one's already done. The former jail site. So we're going to tackle that hopefully once we get the building started, so that's where we want to go. One thing I do want to point out too is the board did approve the hiring and creation of what we call more inmate medical services. Currently, right now, if you are an inmate and you are in Medicaid, the county has to pay for all your medical bills. And that right now, when we outsourced it, that's the tune of $650,000 a year for just inmate medical. It's going up 5-6% every year. So we come up with a plan where we're going to hire two nurses, 40 hours a week inside. We're going to have a social worker, then we're going to have a psychiatrist that's going to be contractual, and then we're going to have a physician's assistant that'll sign up on the medical stuff. That should save us about $120,000 to $150,000 a year and give us more control over what we have going on in there. You know, when I tell people that $650,000 a year in just inmate medical, people don't even think about that. But unfortunately, this is one of those, when you've got trial courts and you've got the correctional facility, there's a lot of hidden costs that people aren't aware of in the county budget. We're working on the county budget right now, have not presented to the Board of Commissioners. We do have 2 deputies on the road right now in this year's budget. That was great news, and I think everybody liked to hear. I hope to find more each and every year, but it's only if I can show sustained funding for the next 10 years. We have a financial forecasting tool that I can put any different type of scenario in there. And so if I can't show that we can't afford them in 10 years, then we're not going to bring them on and wait until we can. So we're slowly getting working on that. The Board of Commissioners have been very accepting and they like this. We've displayed it a couple of different times now, so it's been very informative. So when we're doing these future decisions, they can kind of lay it all out there and stuff like that. So those are some of the highlights. And if you have any questions for me, now that you have me here, you don't have to be as nice as you're the chairman and stuff. You can ask me point blank if there's anything that you have.
So that I don't have to bring it up later, could you tell everyone where the building concept information will be available for the bond information?
We are going to set up, we've got to determine a time. Once we get it done, we're going to have a public meeting on it and kind of go over it, correct?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
Yes.
Town hall, like.
Yes, town hall meeting where we're going to have everything shown, what it's going to be like. It'll be on our website, it'll be at the clerk's office, and it'll be at our temporary location at 510 West Pickard.
Thank you.
That'll have the general contractor bid, it'll have the concept, and then it'll have the actual drawings, everything that's out there. And so this will give the voters, what I hope, a little bit more reassurance that we're not just spending our money on a bunch of a wish list and assumptions and stuff like that. Here's the hard cost. If everything goes as planned, we hope to start construction in September. It's all going to be inside work. We're putting new windows on and taking the top thing, what we call the penthouse. That's where we have our heating and cooling systems. It's literally only 5 feet in there, so you can't work. So we're going to, rip that all out and then put new rooftop units on it and get everything modernized windows, more security inside the office areas, and a boardroom that we will actually have audio visual where people will be able to hear the meetings clearly, and won't that be nice?
I don't know if that's a good thing or not. We'll see.
So that's where we will have it all at. But we'll make sure people are aware of where all this information's at. The 45-day window starts when we get it published in the paper. So the board will vote on it, and then as soon as it's published in the paper, then the 45-day window starts at that point. But again, we're not asking for a millage on that. There is a millage renewal for the Commission on Aging, completely separate. That's in August. The millage that we're asked that is for that. We're not doing a millage for that. I already have money in this year's budget, actually, kind of sitting in different areas that'll be used for the bond payment. Within 7 years, rent would exceed our bond payment if we were even fined 36,000 square feet in the city. It has to be in the city because it's got to be the city seat. Can't go outside the township on that.
You had mentioned something about 10% of the electorate if
The
they come
10% of
forward
registered voters.
and, so if 10% come through, it could go on as a millage request?
No, it would not be a millage.
Okay, so what happens if 10% don't come forward?
If they, let's say if we have only 8%, then we can proceed with the bonding. We can proceed with the bond. The 10%, if we have 10% that want it, then the bond itself would be on the ballot.
I see.
Do you as a voter want to have us have the ability to take out an X $1 million bond with this payment structure? Yes or no? It would be that simple. It's not a millage. It's just, can we issue the bond or can we not? If it goes to, if you get 10% of the voters. So you as a citizen, everybody has a right to go and do your petition gathering for that. And if you get 10% that's certified by the clerk, then it would go on the next ballot to see if we can take that bond out.
And if it fails on the ballot?
If you get the 10% and it fails at the ballot, then we rent forever. And then before you know it, we're gonna be paying, within 10 years, we'll be paying over $1 million for the same thing that we could be paying $800,000 for example, 10, 11 years, whatever like that, so.
Plus, we're gonna be scattered all over the
Yeah.
city yet, so I know our employees have been real.
Our IT
patient.
system, we got 2.5 IT people, we're scattered all over. We got the old jail, we got the new jail, we got prosecutors, we got 510, we got 600, we've got public defenders, we've got literally Commission on Aging. We literally have 8 different locations right now. So our IT staff is scattered all over the place, and it's just, we have people working in hallways at the temporary building. We got 2 people in each office. We've got, it's not conducive, and so something has to be done.
And not good for a citizen. What I need to go see, where are they? Yeah.
Yes, and so you know, people are coming in and they get frustrated. I don't blame them because they expect 510 West Pickard, that's for the county, and they expect the clerk to be there. Well, no, because clerk had to move because the register of deeds used to be in the back garage.
Right.
Literally in the garage over winter with one big space heater over them.
Oh, geez.
That's where they were at for a while until the clerk moved over to the jail and then the register of deeds moved up front. I mean, that's just how it's.
Yeah.
You know, it's just moving these chess pieces all over and trying to find efficiencies has just been difficult, to say the least.
So then would the sheriff retain an office in the administration building?
The sheriff would have a location that if somebody wanted to meet with him, he would have it, but he has all his files on his computer and stuff, and so that's where he would be able to access files. So the county seat would still remain at the administration building if a person needed to meet with him on official business.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You gotta leave on a good note. This is like 1 acre.
Oh, well,
I was
what?
I was going to ask you about that, actually.
Oh, we had some land that was right south of the Commission on Aging, the parking lot behind Crestwood and Lux Funeral Home. The 6.11 acres was donated to the Commission on Aging for use that has to be specifically related for Commission on Aging purposes. So the county can't just take it and then we build something that's not related to the Commission on Aging. So they donated it, the county board approved the purchase agreement, now we just gotta get a closing date set up and finalize it, and then the land will be ours. Okay,
Nice.
that'll be nice.
That's so cool.
So yes, thank you, that's on a positive note.
Positive note.
So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no public hearings. Let's open up for public comment restricted to 3 minutes regarding items on this agenda at 7:14. Do we have anybody online?
We have one person online. I don't see their hand raised.
I'll give them a second here. Seeing no one coming forward, we'll close. Close at 7:15. I just wanted to wait for the minute to. No closed sessions. Reports and board comments. Anybody have any questions in regard to the May monthly activity report?
Nope.
Very good. Next, we'll go to the EDA, Planning Commission, ZBA, and airport updates by Community and Economic Development Director, Mr. Nanning.
Thank you very much. I'll start with the Planning Commission this time. Planning Commission did meet on the 19th, last Tuesday. They had a busy agenda, and it was all Whiteville Road. And they had 4 business items, and all of them were on South Whiteville Road, which was kind of interesting. They had a special use permit hearing, public hearing for a special use permit application to expand the Heirloom Grove facility. This is an agritourism operation down on South Whiteville Road that Michael and Jamie Klump own. And they received a special use permit for that agritourism site back in 2022. They were coming back because they've had success and it's growing, they're expanding. Not expanding beyond the property they have, but expanding the scope of their activities. So it said there was a hearing on that. There's actually 2 items on the agenda for that, both a special use permit and then associated with that was a separate preliminary site plan application. The Plan Commission did approve both the special use permit and the preliminary site plan for the project. You may be seeing part of this relatively soon. As part of the special use permit, the Clumps asked to add a small winery, a small distillery potentially, and a tasting room for the site. This would be something that the tasting room. Some of these that require a state permit through the State Liquor Control Commission, and that process requires an action by the Board of Trustees, essentially to give direction to the State Liquor Control Commission through a resolution as to whether or not you support the granting of that license. So with the approval of special use permit, the associated license application will be coming to you next month for your consideration. The Clumps also had a separate special use permit application. They are converting an existing home on the other side of the street from the Heirloom Grove site to a short-term rental. The intent is that this property, which has been in the family for a while, the intent would be is this property, this home, will be available to folks that may have an event at the Heirloom Grove, and maybe some people willing to stay overnight in the short-term rental. Short-term rental for us, that's what our ordinance calls it. You think of the Airbnb. There's several different Vrbo. There's several different companies that do this sort of thing. But it basically be for overnight or a few days of occupancy by a family or group, and it would be partly. First of all, the special use permit was approved, so that project also will move forward. And it will become part of a rental housing inspection program. So it will get an annual inspection and recertification through that. There are some updates that need to make to the building to make it suitable for our rental program, and so that'll be their next step. The other item on the agenda, business-wise, was continuation of an item that they had a public hearing for in February, and that was for a proposed rezoning at 4080 South Whiteville Road. This is the property right on the corner as you're going west on Broomfield Road, and it turns to and becomes South Whiteville Road. It's a property directly in front of you. Very large house there, and this property has been split zoned for quite a while now, since 2018, with the northern half of it zoned R2A, and the southern half of it, including that house, zoned agricultural. And the request was to rezone the entire property, make it all R2A. And the owner has indicated that their intention is to convert what is now currently a very large single-family home, I believe it's 8 bedrooms, into a duplex. probably 4 and 4 duplex. And so that would require the rezoning. The R2A district allows a duplex, the Ag district does not. The hearing was held in February. The Planning Commission asked for some more information. They received it, and they did review that, had some more discussion at their May meeting, and ultimately did make a recommendation to you, to the board, to approve that rezoning. And so that will also be coming to you in June, later in June. Right now, that item, under the State Zoning Act, we're required to give the county 30 days to review and comment on any rezoning application. And so that, we're basically waiting out those 30 days right now, and then it will be coming to you in your second meeting in June. So that was a busy meeting for the Planning Commission. The EDA board also met on the 19th. They elected their officers. There were no changes. They re-elected Tom Keequan as chair and Brian Oki as the vice chair. They also had discussion about attendance. We had a challenge the start of this year with a number of members who had not perfect attendance, and so that was discussed, and some commitments made, with discussion about that, but it was not any action taken, but it was sort of noted and discussed as part of that meeting. A couple of things with the EDA board. You may see, if you're out and about on M20, you'll see our annual festival banners. The Outreach Mid-Michigan banners are going up along M20. We also have currently up in the interchange, we have the Special Olympics banners. The Special Olympics has their statewide games here this week, and last year, this year, we put up banners to welcome the athletes and their families. So those will be up for a couple more weeks. And then the last item on my list was airport. You've asked me to talk to the airport board, our Joint Operations and Management Board, which I'm the township's representative. As a board, we currently working, as I talked before, about both trying to rehab the existing runway, resurface it, but we're also trying to see if we can find a way to extend that runway, add another 1,000 feet to it. We talked a little bit last time about some of the reasons for that, but it's primarily to make it easier for the types of corporate aircraft that come in, make it easier for them to come in less than perfect weather. Right now, the 5,000-foot runway is just barely long enough for the bigger planes that come in. And so if it's wet, they need more rollout for that wet weather. They simply can't land at our airport. And so the additional 1,000 feet would help with additional growth and activity at the airport. With that in mind, we took advantage of the Chamber of Commerce, which had their legislative breakfast May 8th, and of course, they had great representation there, both state and federal representatives and staff there, and so we borrowed them. Did it above board. We invited them early beforehand, but we added to their experience by inviting them to come to the airport after the breakfast and get an airport tour. And we had great attendance, and the purpose of the tour, of course, to show off the airport, but it was also to provide an opportunity to speak to both our state and our federal representatives about the challenges we've been experiencing related to trying to do this runway project, and in particular about interpretations being made in this immediate area, the local Detroit FAA office, about how to interpret federal rules for rehabbing our airport runway. And that the current interpretations are actually trying to force our runway to become shorter, not longer, and narrower, not wider, which is not helpful to support the aircraft that we already have coming. And so this was a great opportunity to talk to them. We shared a letter that was prepared by the board in the city leadership, and we had a great response to it, and we'll be having some additional follow-up conversations to see what we can get done about those challenges we gave them. So that's my report for today. I'm happy to answer your questions you may have.
It was good.
Oh, I think I answered one. Wow.
Yeah.
Good job.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, next board member reports. Clerk Cole.
I don't have anything.
Treasurer Rogers, I want to say something first. When I froze up, my hearing aids had developed a high-pitched noise and I couldn't hear anything. So I'm going, that's why I had that dumbfounded look on my face, so
What's
I
that
want to
sound?
apologize
Oh,
to
you're
you.
fine. No, you're
I
fine.
almost pulled them out and then you,
Yep,
Help me along.
I can relate.
holy cow. So, Treasurer Rogers.
Okay, I am the Township liaison to the County Road Commission. And they had quite a meeting. It was, they're always good, but there's a new line coming through for data centers, like, main power line kind of thing, telecommunication line. They spoke about the DTE battery storage in Rosebush. They're still having funding struggles. The MTF was 31,000, down 10% from last year to date. So their money is still a problem. On Sweeney and Broomfield, there was a motorcycle accident and a young man was killed. The road commission cut trees, branches there to provide visibility, so there's no longer visibility issue. Actually, one of the commissioners sat in the parking lot of the building. Is there Social Security? No. There's, anyway.
The vision store there in the corner.
Anyway, he sat and watched, and people, they could still see clear, and they're just on their phone or whatever and still not stopping, whatever. So the tree is not a problem there now. People are. They're thinking about adding signage there, maybe with a flashing light or something, but they're gonna have a traffic light. They can't have a traffic light that close to where the lights are. Mid-July, 11 miles of road will be sealed. August 26 miles will be crack sealed. Lincoln Road paving, first week of June, completed by July 31st. Over 40 miles of road improvement is scheduled for this year. And just one of the cost things, new emission systems for the trucks, $15,000 per truck. So some of the things are facing financially. On Lincoln Road, they had 6 to 8 inches of asphalt, and there were 2 driveways that were not brought to the road, and people wondered why. They were water issues. So those are being taken care of. That's it.
Thank you.
Quick question, Laura. The communication line that you mentioned, for potential data centers coming to the area, or?
Yes. Because they're going to happen. We just don't know where.
Okay.
Yep.
So they're just planning for right-of-way?
Potential coming up in the future, in the near future. Yeah.
Thanks.
Trustee Light.
Do you want to handle the intergovernmental meeting since you don't do the planning commission because we just had the planning commission?
Everybody's stealing my report tonight.
Okay, I'm going to let you handle that
Hey.
one, and I'm going to take over this. I'm going to do the CRC the May meeting. We had County Administrator Smith come in and give us a brief overview of his time on the board, which was very enlightening. We also initiated a project with Win Telecom to put in cameras in the ice arena. They're starting with the ice arena since the ice arena is not really being used right now because it's closed for the season. And then they're going to move on to Maury Courts. They purchased the actual equipment so that the Sportsplex will own the equipment, and they estimate that we'll have 30 days of recording on the drives that they're putting in to record the information so that they will be able to go back and look at any kind of footage that they got. Let's see here. We have a meeting about, which I think Mark will probably cover. We have a community meeting about the Renaissance School project next week. And one of the other things that I wanted to bring up was the Zamboni machine for your benefit. Yes. It was not the Zamboni machine. It was the Olympia machine, which is like a Zamboni. It was being used to shave ice. It got hot and blew hydraulic line. The hydraulic fluid caught fire, and they had the doors open, and they were able to drive it out into a snowbank, which put the fire out and prevented the 2 propane tanks that are on the Olympic machine from exploding. the gentleman who was on the machine is a 30-year veteran of the state of, or the Michigan State Police, so he was cool as a cucumber. Minor burns, smoke inhalation, and it is going to be repairable. They are going to be able to take it to a hydraulic specialist and get it, the hydraulic lines replaced, and we will have an operable Olympia machine. So the Zamboni machine is fine. And that is what I have.
Any questions? Trustee Lannon?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to attend the Isabella County Council of Governments meeting May 20th. And it was held at the Clark Historical Museum on the campus of CMU. And our facilitator was Marion Matten, who's an archivist at the Clark Museum. And she handles what they call primary sources primarily, which are not yet public information. She works on them, organizes that information to get it available for the public. And she went through, this was of interest to all the townships. The primary discussion beyond the tour of the facility was to talk a little bit about the proper way to go about archiving and safely storing documentations that municipal governments create. And I found that somewhat interesting while reading the manager's report. We're under Community and Economic Development. It states our Community and Economic Development Director is working with the staff at Clark Historical Library at CMU and the leadership of the State Archives of Michigan to explore a possible transfer of several historical township record books to a permanent collection of similar historical records of local governmental agencies in the Clark Historical Library. And the primary function of the library is to collect and maintain the historical documentation for the state of Michigan, which also includes, prior to the state of Michigan, the old Northwest Territory, which Michigan is now. Also to preserve and maintain history of Central Michigan University. And they are also very interested in collecting children's literature. And so that was enjoyed by members of most all the townships in the county. I also had the opportunity to attend the Isabella County Board of Commissioners meeting held May 26th. And the first item I'll report on was discussion and moving to consider at their next regular meeting to accept the Isabella County separate tax limitation operating rate, which will be presented at 6.61 mils. And the Director of Equalization for the county had mentioned that there's a $2.8 billion taxable value in the county. The other items that took place for consideration all had to do with the county acts as the fiduciary agent in these agreements for the Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works. And there were a number of businesses who will probably be receiving grants to help train folks to work at these businesses, and those businesses were Bandit Industries, Berlin Cromley Electric, Fisher Contracting Company, Helios Rising Incorporated, National Pipeline Services, Next Tier Automotive Corporation, Wobig Construction Company. And that rounds out the list, and that was what I have to report on from the county commission meeting. Questions on either of those?
Trustee Older.
Yes, I appreciate Director Nanny's thoroughness in providing the Planning Commission update, the Whiteville Road meeting, as he referred to it. The only thing that I would add to that is it was the final meeting for Commissioner Stan Shingles. Stan has served on and off the Planning Commission for, I believe it's close to 15 years in multiple terms. And now that he is retired from Central Michigan University, he is relocating to the Chicagoland area. So want to just recognize Stan for his outstanding service and thank him for that and wish him all the best as he moves forward. And then this morning, as Trustee Lay mentioned, I attended the Intergovernmental Liaison meeting at City Hall. And thanks to County Administrator Smith for providing a great update. That makes my report very short, as well as the CRC portion of the discussion, which was a very healthy discussion among the three governmental entities this morning. And then Manager Stuhldreher also provided updates from the Township, including Jameson Park project status. And I would mention just on the city side, as part of the 250th anniversary of the United States, they will be hosting events the weekend of August 21st through the 23rd, sort of founding days, heritage days, if you will. Partnerships with CMU and the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe on historical talks, along with Artreach's annual event, live music, to celebrate the 250th of the U.S. And City Manager DeSense also mentioned that the farmers market is underway. Thursdays are going very well. Saturdays, which start soon, will be moving to the afternoons to try to capitalize on some additional attendance. They did receive through the city a $2.8 million grant from the state for a pavilion build, which will be in Island Park, and they're working on that process now of design and how that might best fit with construction plan for next year. So that's all I have today.
Thank you. I had the privilege of attending the Mount Pleasant City Commission meeting yesterday. A couple of the items they talked about. One was they are looking to buy a replacement, it's called a Rover X sewer pipeline camera. It's kind of a neat little device. It's got 4 wheels and goes through and checks the pipeline out, which I thought was
Cool.
very, very interesting. Another thing they talked about was a resolution authorizing membership in the Michigan Wastewater Agency Response Network. And what that is, it's a program designed to connect municipalities through a system in which assistance can be requested when responding to emergencies. Cost would be reimbursed by the requesting agency. And that's something that their staff had recommended to join this program, as a city would be able to use it if they needed it. They had a couple of work session items. One was on the opioid settlement fund allocation. They talked a lot about what to do with those funds and to make sure that wherever those funds go to, that they obviously go to address addiction, and how they can have oversight to make sure that the money actually is being used exactly how they intend it to be. They had quite a discussion on chickens in the city. Very interesting. Just kind of throwing ideas back and forth of what they would like to see. 1 chicken, 2 chicken, no chickens, ducks, no roosters, how big, how little. They gave the city manager a bunch of information, and he will now take that back and try to bring something back to them a little more defined for their discussion. Last but not least, they went into closed session to consider the purchase or lease of real property, in which case that was my exit sign, and that is my report. The Pleasant City Commission. Moving on, consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Support?
Motion made by Cody, supported by Over. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. New business, business A, discussion action, consider approval and adoption of the Charter Township of Union Investment Policy. Manager Schuldrager?
Thank you and good evening, everybody. There is a report on this agenda item that begins on page 31 of your agenda packet. The township has, as required by law, has had an investment policy in place for some number of years. It's been a long time. It's required under Public Act 20. And we're asking tonight for you to consider adopting an amendment, a couple amendments to that policy. And as background, Union Township, we maintain funds or monies in all kinds of funds, water fund, general fund. And with when we have idle cash, we try to invest that and generate interest earnings. You see that in your budget request every year. And as we manage those idle funds and we invest them, we have to follow the investment policy. And the policy, the original and the current, emphasizes preservation of principles, that's safety because of public funds. Yield is always last in terms of our objective. It's safety, liquidity, and then rate of return. Kind of in that order is the way we think of it. The policy authorizes all the investments that we're allowed to invest in per the State Act. That's Appendix A of the policy on page 36. CDs, U.S. Treasury securities, U.S. agency securities, certificates of deposits from banks, mutual funds, those kind of things they're all listed. The policy also would require quarterly reporting to the board so that you're aware of where the investments are, what their maturities look like, what their interest rates look like. So that would all become part of the reporting that then can be used for accountability purposes, governance policy, compliance, that kind of thing. The policy does promote transparency, additional emphasis on reporting to the board. It, I think, provides a good framework for us to operate within. It also names the treasurer, the finance director, and myself as the investment officers that are allowed to make the investment decisions. Like I said, it's not new. It's a little bit reformatted. There's been some additions that are related to the next item on your agenda as an allowable investment. But I do want to emphasize the investment authority resting with the treasurer, manager, or finance director, and then the objectives of the investment policy is safety, liquidity, yield. What comes also with all that is diversification. There's text throughout the policy about all those items. So we're recommending that you consider approving the amended policy. It received input from the treasurer finance director, accounting specialist, myself. So be happy to answer any questions you may have on it.
I'd make a motion to consider approval and adoption of the Charter Township of Union investment policy in accordance with Public Act 20 of 1943 and Public Act 77 of 1989, and authorize the township treasurer, township manager, and finance director to administer township investments in compliance with the policy.
Support?
Can you please take the word consider out of your motion?
Remove it.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, do we have a?
I will, as I'm one of the named parties here, I will recuse myself from voting.
Did you support?
I did.
Yeah? No? No?
The-
Okay.
There's no reason to recuse yourself, trustee. This is county funds being invested township funds being invested per state act, our investment policy. There's no, you have
Okay.
no personal
Right,
skin
right.
in
Okay,
this
I
one.
was, okay.
Very good. All right, so we had motion made by trustee Lannon, supported by Oliver. Do we have any discussion?
No, we're just gonna do a roll call.
Yeah, we're gonna do a roll
Yep.
call vote here
Yep.
in a brief moment.
Just in the reading, it mentions that there'll be a quarterly report developed and issued to the Township Board of Trustees for review.
Okay.
And you'll see this tied in, we just did it, so it may be another year, but one of the governance policies that you look at every year is protection of assets. We just kind of went through that one. The investment policy will be made part of the governance policy, and then the reporting and the monitoring will include quarterly reports so it will help you determine whether or not the administration is in compliance with the investment policy. Thank you.
Trustee Lay, we had a motion to approve and adopt this motion,
Okay,
just so you know where we are.
thank you.
Any more discussion? This is a roll call vote. Clerk Cody?
Treasurer Rogers,
Yes?
Trustee Lannon,
Yes.
Trustee Lay,
Yes.
Trustee Over,
Yes.
Trustee Thalen,
Yes.
and Clerk Cody, yes, all yeses.
Motion passes. Next on tonight's list is discussion action, consider approval of a resolution allowing participation in the Michigan Class Short-Term Investment Program. Manager Soldrager?
Thank you. And as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, there's a whole list of allowable investments. Michigan Class Investment Pool, Michigan Class for short, is an authorized investment vehicle per the state. The organization, Michigan Class, requires that the board take an action to that authorizes Michigan Class as a investment institution, and then more specifically requires that we list the investment option in our investment policy. So as background, I mentioned we have a lot of money that we invest. It's in the neighborhood of $28 million at any given time. You know, we have money coming in, we have money going out for payroll. There's timing differences between all that, and so we're normally sitting on quite a bit of cash. Historically, we've been investing all of that in CDs, certificates of deposits, issued primarily by Isabella Bank, which is our main Union Township depository. And as we're looking at the investments and how we're doing things in the investment policy, we identify, and it's been on my mind for a while, from a diversification perspective, which is one of the tools you use to protect principal, you don't want all your eggs in one basket, so you diversify. And adding this investment pool will help us to quickly diversify and reduce some of the exposure that we have with Isabella Bank. Isabella Bank is a fine, strong financial institution. We have met with those folks. They are aware that we're going to be drawing down some of the funds that we have on deposit with them. They understand, why we're doing it. There will be remaining at Isabella Bank plenty of money there. So I want to make sure I point that out because Isabella Bank is a strong community bank here in this area. But we have our own responsibilities as well. Again, it will be in this case, the treasurer, the accounting specialist, and the finance director. They all met with representatives from Michigan Class to understand how it works. And think of it as a money market account that you might have at Schwab or Fidelity. The intent is that one share always equals $1, and which is what money market accounts try to do, unless there's a major financial issue. I don't see that it would ever deviate from $1. One share equaling $1. So it's a safe investment. It will allow us. We have. I think I saw 31 different CDs that are maturing at the end of the month. That's the other piece with the certificates of deposit. There's so much transaction going on, and so much record keeping and paperwork with all those. This will help alleviate some of that. The pool is designed with safety, liquidity in mind. So it fits in perfectly with our policy. This program has been around for decades. It's used by over 1,000 units of government across the state. Villages, townships, counties, authorities. So it's a well-known product, and in order to take advantage of it, we're asking that the board approve of the attached resolution that approves Michigan Class as a investment option, and then approves the organization as an allowable investment institution, they call it. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
So, Mr. Stuhldraw, this will be the first time, as far as you know, that our township will be utilizing the services of Michigan Cooperative Liquid Asset Security Systems?
To my knowledge, but I don't want to say we never have, because it's been around so long. But since I've been here, it has not been used.
Okay, thanks.
And I don't believe it's ever been used by the township.
I'll make a motion to approve the attached resolution which supports the use of Michigan Class Investment Pool, Michigan Class as authorized investment institution, approves the addition of Michigan Class to investment policy as an allowable investment, and authorizes the township manager to sign the requisite paperwork.
Motion made by Cody, supported by Rogers. Any discussion?
From what I read here, I think it makes real good sense for the township to incorporate the large amount of money into a situation that's much more easily reviewable and understandable, and able to keep their eye on our assets. So I
And
think it's a strong, powerful move.
when we met with the representative from Michigan Class, there's the fund that is, you can retrieve quickly without penalty. Then there are 30 days. If you leave money in, you're gonna make a little more. If you leave 6 months, so those options too.
operationally, we'll be able to put money in it at the end of the business day, earn more interest than we are now, and then take it out the next one.
This will be a roll call vote. Clerk Cody?
Treasurer Rogers?
Yes?
Trustee Lannan?
Yes.
Trustee Lay?
Yes.
Trustee Over?
Yes.
Trustee Thering?
Yes.
And Clerk Cody, yes. All yeses.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is discussion action, policy governance 2.3 compensation and benefits. Again, Manager Stuhldreher.
Thank you, and your report on this begins on page 60. This is the annual, we have our governance policy handbook. We monitor certain parts of that every month throughout the year. In May, the policy 2.3 compensation and benefits is to be reviewed by the board to determine whether or not the administration is in compliance with that policy. At the highest level, the policy states that with respect to employment, compensation, benefits to employees, whether it's consultants, contract workers, volunteers, collective bargaining units, the township manager shall not cause or allow jeopardy to fiscal integrity or the public image. There are 6 sub-policies to that. I'm not going to read them all. They're in your pocket, but they touch on such things as promises or implications of hiring without going through the legitimate hiring process. I'm not allowed to change my employment agreement without the board approval, those kinds of things. I interpret this policy to indicate that the manager is to ensure that we have employees that are fairly compensated both from a monetary and benefit perspective. We do that so that we can recruit and attract employees, that there are no promises being given that are inappropriate, that our benefits and compensation are at levels that the market, our local market, would dictate, geographic and professional, and that we create no long-term obligations that we're not able to support when we're dealing with compensation and benefits. So it's a balancing act. We need to pay enough to attract good people, but we can only afford what we can afford as a baseline proposition. I think that's a reasonable interpretation of the policy. I think this policy is very clearly written and pretty easy to follow. There's some data in your report. You may recall that the board approved an employment agreement last November. It was effective January 1 of 26. We did have a classification and compensation study done. I received it late last year. I've not finished my review of it yet, so it's not been brought before the board yet. But as we were entering the collective bargaining arena late last year, I made the decision that I did not want that item making what's already a difficult, at times, process any more difficult. We had a similar study done about 10 years ago, maybe a little less. We did implement those recommendations. At the time, it took a while and a lot of discussion with the bargaining groups, because what the report ends up saying, unless I'm very surprised, is some positions are over the market, some positions are under the market. There's internal equity that the study looks at is position A, which might be at a grade 4, really a more difficult position than the one at grade 2, which is a lower level. So there's internal equity that we have to deal with when looking at jobs transition over time, they morph. So we look at what the current work's being done, they study that, and inevitably some are below and above the market. So what you end up with is a situation where you have to treat individuals differently than their coworkers, which when you get into collective bargaining is a very difficult concept to grasp because they like everybody treated the same. But we'll look at that and recommend any changes if they are in fact needed. We did negotiate successfully. The employees and the board approved the current CBA, collective bargaining agreement, late last year. It's in place from January 1 of 26 through the end of 28. I do want to point out that I've been focused on healthcare since I've been here in terms of a benefit that needs to be managed. And when I started here, employees paid 0% of the premium, to keep it simple. Township paid 100%. Today, this year, in 2026, the employees are paying 13% now, and the employer is paying 87%. So we make quite a bit of progress over several collective bargaining agreements. And in 28, the last year of our current agreement, the employer will be paying 86% and the employee paying 14%. I'd like to get us to an 80-20 cost share, but that may take a bit more time, but we've come a really long way. I understand it's transferring costs from the employer to the employee, and but I think we've done it in as best as we could. You haven't seen a lot of people running for the door, so that tells me that we're still in the healthcare arena very competitive. We also offer additional, we have a 401, what essentially is a 401k investment retirement program we offer our employees. It's a defined contribution plan. In addition to that, we also offer what's referred to as a 457 plan, so they can save even more of their money on a tax-favored basis. And then the last piece of data that I'll point out is that we did have several positions that we needed to fill last year, and in every case, we went through the proper process. It was posted internally and externally. We use interview committees here when we get to the interview stage, several people from across the organization, and we switch it up so everybody has experience. Participates in that. There's a hiring manager that has the ultimate decision because it's their staff person, but the interview team provides a lot of useful input to the hiring manager. So based on all that, I feel that we're in compliance with policy 2.3, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, the only question I had was, do you anticipate possibly sometime in the third quarter sharing the results from the commission study?
It should be earlier than that, earlier in the third quarter.
Thanks.
All right. Anybody else have any comments? On page 62, there's a list of questions, 1 through 6. Does anybody feel that there's a no attached to any of those? Was there report submitted when due? Did the report lay out the manager's interpretation or an operational definition of the policy? Is the interpretation justified, or is proof provided to explain why the interpretation is reasonable? Was I convinced that the interpretation is justified and reasonable? Did the interpretation address all aspects of the policy? And does the data show compliance with the manager's interpretation of our policy? Anybody feel that any of those are no?
No.
I do not. I feel they are all yeses. Is there any area regarding this policy that you worry about that is not clearly addressed in existing policy? Okay. Let's go to the next step. Next step is discussion action. This is the Board of Trustees. Policy Governance 3.1, Cost of Governance. I can read the first sentence of the policy. Because poor governance costs more than learning to govern well, the board will invest in its governance capacity. According to the, and as we've all read, thoughts, questions, concerns? Manager, please feel free to interject anything if you see or think anything.
I think it reads well, covers the bases, and shows the priority of our township board to make sure that we can function at the highest level, and if there's training and events that we need to attend to help us govern our township better, that it's laid out here and is supported by this board.
The opportunity is overwhelming. There's unlimited resources. All we have to do is go ask somebody to help us be pointed in the right direction if there is something out there that we would like to know more about. Let's see.
How are the attendance pay levels set, and how often are those revisited?
Well, how are they set? I guess they were set. Trustee Lannon, weren't you part of the original group that?
Well, they would have been
process?
discussed between the board and the management, and developed and then brought before the board for a vote.
How long ago?
And, as far as I can recall, the compensation for attendance at our appointed meetings has been, I would venture a guess, 10 years anyways.
More than 9.
Is it time to reconsider something?
Is that a pretty common practice? I'm kind of new to this piece, so I'm just curious as to other governmental units, how that applies, and if we're in line with it or not in line with it. I don't have a good basis other than just reading the policy as it's written.
The payment of what I'll call per diem, per meeting pay, is very common across all levels of local government. Not to be paid for a meeting that you were elected
Right.
here, but to attend a city meeting or a county meeting.
Right.
That's common. The state statute, with the exception, and I don't know why, but with the exception of the Economic Development Authority members, the payment is allowed. Planning commissioners, ZBA, but for some reason it's explicit in the state statute that the EDA board cannot be compensated. Don't know why. State statute does not speak to the level of pay. I believe there was a review done 7 or 8 years ago. They didn't change all of the levels, but I recall that the Board of Review members that was adjusted somewhat. It might have been more from a clarity perspective. That board, they can meet all day. So, you know, what does that mean in terms of this policy? And those folks, I believe, are paid about $125 a day. I would suggest that the meeting pay is in the realm of typical. I don't, and I see some of that kind of stuff cross my desk. There's nothing that stands out to me right now. But now that I think about it, we may have some information in that regard in that classification compensation study, because we asked for some information on that as well. So might have some more current information for you a little later in the year.
There's also some verbiage in here. If you're appointed to, say, the planning commission, for instance, or another board where you're compensated for being on that through the planning commission, meeting pay level, you know, that's what you get paid. It may differentiate, but you would not turn in that as a meeting, as a member here on the board, and get paid twice for it. That's addressed where that doesn't happen.
I'm just curious, it seems to me that the policy is intended to encourage trustees to participate in more meetings, to get more information, to become more aware of what's happening around other governmental entities, et cetera. And I'm just curious to see if we're in line, but I'm also curious from a budgeting standpoint, do you look at, you know, the average number of extra meetings and meeting pay and things like that and build that in? Is there potential
built
for
into the budget.
abuse? How do you
It's built into the recommended budget.
Okay.
Not only your meeting pay, but all the other members, for instance, of the planning commission receive payment.
Sure.
And so that's built into the budget as well.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to question 1. Indicate item by item if you believe the board is in strict compliance with this policy as stated. Do you feel like we're in strict compliance?
Yeah.
Believe
Yes.
so. We'll skip number 2. Let's go to 3. How do you think the board can improve the process to be in full compliance? I guess it's all kind of the same. We feel like we've,
Already are.
okay. Next up, we have extended public comment restricted to 5 minutes regarding any issue. Would anyone like to get up and make an extended public comment for 5 minutes?
Up to 5 minutes. You
No,
don't have
no.
to, you don't have to talk 5
5
minutes.
minutes.
You must take the whole 5 minutes.
Anybody online?
Yes, I don't see her hand raised though.
Okay, let's wait a second too. We opened it at 8:13. And we are going to close extended public comment at 8:13. Manager's comments?
Thank you, and I just have a couple. We were invited to the Tribal 2% grant award rollout scheduled for tomorrow. When you're invited, that means at least one of your grant applications was funded. So that's very good news. Don't know which one yet, but we will tomorrow. Trustee Lay and myself will be attending that to accept that award on behalf of the Township. That's tomorrow morning. Just a reminder that on June 10th, which is the first meeting in June, we'll have our tour of the water and wastewater facilities. There'll be a bus from ITC here at 5:30. We'll jump on, tour the various facilities, and then be back here in time for a little bit of break, and then our 7 p.m. regularly scheduled meeting. We do have a new employee starting Monday. I'll probably send out an email just so I can provide you a little bit more background, but Mr. Allen Rymersma, and I got to figure out the right pronunciation for that. He goes by Trip. I should be able to remember. But he starts June 1st, Monday. He's filling, you may recall, as part of the budget, the funding was provided this year for the assessing / general property tax specialist. That's a position that will help primarily the assessor, but then also help with the whole taxation, property taxation business, whether it's on the treasurer / collection side, the assessment side, or what have you. So we had posted that position several months ago. This gentleman, he's currently working for Holland Township in their assessor's office, and he's moving up here. He's going to live in Midland. His wife has some family in Bay City, so Midland kind of splits it a little bit. He is in the process of studying for his level 2 assessing certification, and he's expected to receive that in September. Union Township requires a level 3 certification because of our taxable value composition and size, how much we have in commercial and industrial and that kind of thing. So we require a level 3. Our assessor, Joe Peters, is a level 3. This gentleman, assuming he's successful, will be a level 2 certified. So we're excited to welcome him on board. When you get a chance, if you're through the area in the next few months, stop in, say hello. And then I did want to just let the board know I'm conducting what I'm describing as a community meeting next week to talk to leaders in the community about the community's appetite to help tackle the Isabella traffic problem in the area of Renaissance School, where it gets real backed up during drop-offs and pickups. And I've been here for almost 10 years now. Every year, at least once, I get a call about that situation over there. You know, it is bad. You got a 4-lane road, then you got the drop-off and pickup. Traffic gets backed up, and there's nothing good can happen. So we've done some preliminary design work with the assistance of the tribe. They awarded a 2% grant last fall. We had some preliminary design work done to envision a driveway that you would enter off Isabella Road, north of the school, head east towards the sportsplex, curve around the back of the school in this driveway, and then that's where the cars would stop and the students would get in and out. And then they'd continue on down their way and exit at Remus, take a right at Remus Road, then you're at the light. So that's what we're trying to do, and I see a lot of benefits that could come out of that, not only vehicular and pedestrian safety, but I think it could also really help highlight that area of Isabella. There'll be some beautification involved, lighting, sidewalks around the school. I'm hopeful that the community will, and then you got the sportsplex back there too, owned by the CRC. They'd like signage up front. They have some signage, but they don't have any road where the sign is that you can go into. So I think there's a lot of benefits that could be had if the community agrees to tackle this project. And if they agree to tackle it, and this will be communicated. That means that as a collective, we're going to find funding for it. This is not a Union Township project as a discrete project. But up till now, we've decided to take the lead to get some information that then we can hold this meeting and see where we want to go next as a community. So I've invited folks like the executive director of the foundation, the Mid-Michigan Development Corp., which is our economic development folks, Mr. Smith, Mr. Dens, and chamber folks that, you know, a pretty good cross-section. So I just want you to be aware that that's being held, and I look forward to that meeting, and hopefully we'll get some, as a community, some positive feedback. But the key to it is, can this community wrap its hands around a project that's not just a direct benefit to one of these governmental entities, just the township, just the city. So we'll see. Thank you, that's all I have. Oh, one last thing, I'm sorry. Special Olympics coming to town. It was mentioned earlier. Opening ceremonies are Friday, let's say May 28th, goes through the 30th. They will accept volunteers even if you just walk up on a Friday. But it's a real good event. I'm guessing all of you have been there. It's just, it's a really good thing for the athletes and then for the community. So, thank you.
Thank you. Final board member comments. Trustee Olver.
Nothing more this evening.
Trustee Lannon.
Yeah, I'd like to just mention that Friday, June 5th, the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe is hosting an event regarding the Honoring, Healing, and Remembering ceremony to commemorate the history of the Mount Pleasant Indian Industrial Boarding School. And it's an event they've done many years in a row. It's a very solemn, somber, hopeful, joyful event, and it's primarily held at the old industrial school off of Crawford Road, just north of Pickard.
Thank you. Trustee Lane.
I wanted to remind everyone that Paint the Pavement is this weekend on the 30th, so get out there, and it's Art Reach puts it on. It's where we paint the crosswalks, so in downtown Mount Pleasant. So they're looking for volunteers. Show up, paint, bring your kids.
Thank you. Treasurer Rogers.
I'd like to follow up on the conversation I started last meeting about the frequency of our meetings. There's two different issues. The frequency of our meetings every 2 weeks versus once a month or more if needed. And then also the time of afternoon or evening that it is. So I'm kind of curious what your thoughts, you had 2 weeks to kind of think about it. The thought being, if we have a meeting earlier, we'll get more people to attend the meetings. And even to watch the meetings probably, but. Don't all speak at once.
So I'll mention I have been chewing on that idea you brought forward. I think it's great that board members bring big questions forward, think about things that are a considerable change to how things have traditionally gone. I've been kind of going down and trying to weigh the recommendation that you've brought forward against our board policy, kind of line item by line item, and see how I feel that fits into what we have established as our board policy, and see if that would be a benefit or less than a benefit for what we've established.
For meeting policy?
For the frequency, primarily the frequency. The time
I don't,
is, you know, not so significant in my mind.
I don't, there's not a policy that says how often we have to have meetings, is there? Not that I've seen.
No, I'm
Okay.
just trying to,
No, I understand.
as you go through, our policy talks about being a board of excellence,
Mhm.
doing all we can do, receiving the appropriate training. So then I consider how the board, you know, potentially changes minimally every 4 years, and the time needed to bring new members up to speed. And so kind of 3 things that I kind of turn to is our fiduciary responsibility to the township, which, you know, in essence, we're a small city. We're not anything like any of the other townships really in the county. And so with our primary responsibility of fiduciary to our community owners, I think that takes a considerable amount of time. I won't want to short that any. Secondly, service to our community in the thought of folks who are in the need of getting permit approvals to keep construction projects online. It is just one item that falls under that category that I am kind of chewing on. And then the third idea is making sure we're giving enough opportunity to our community, our partners, our intergovernmental relationships that we have to have a chance to come before the board, present, discuss. So, in my mind, it's going to be a considerable amount of time that I'm going to be going through this to try to come up with what I feel is the correct thing for our township, but primarily we'll be basing it off what I read through our policy governance and interpretation of that.
And go ahead.
I would be up for putting it on as an agenda item for upcoming item, as a discussion item.
Okay.
I mean, if other people.
I support putting it on the agenda in a future meeting.
Yeah.
But I'd like to give, I'd like to give us a little more time to do our due diligence, as Trustee Lannon was referring to.
Yeah, have pros versus cons. of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Good.
guess I'd like to hear from the management team, you know. I guess I would truly like to see a fairly comprehensive list of benefit, pros, cons.
That's fair.
Who benefits, who doesn't.
That's fair. That's all I have.
Mr. Ryder, are you okay with that?
I am making a note of it, and we'll make it, it'll be an agenda item for discussion, frequency of Board of Trustee meetings, and with that, we'll, in the agenda packet will be a report by staff that can help you with your discussion. How's that?
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Great. Clerk, Cody?
I'm good.
Okay, well, my comment is, we have fulfilled all agenda items, so we will adjourn this meeting.
Well done, sir.
Thank you.